Hey, what's up guys, Crazy here, back in No Man's Sky Beyond, and today I want to go over the multi-tool weapon modes. There are more than a handful of these in the game that you can add to your multi-tool. There's the trusty old bolt caster, the scatter blaster, a pulse splitter, blaze javelin, and even a couple of plasma launchers. But since all of these are so distinct from one another and tend to have their own weaknesses and strengths, it might be hard to make a proper decision which one to add to your current multi-tool. Even more so since you can't fit more than 2 or 3 of these all at the same time. So let's dive right in, and also today's video was brought to you thanks to Instant Gaming. Instant Gaming is a website that sells games at some really cheap prices, as low as 75% off. So if you want some really cool discounts, make sure you check out the links in the description down below. Now I'm going to start this video with the boring old but still very good bolt caster. This is the first weapon upgrade you get early on in the game. You can build it outright and it behaves a little bit like your regular assault rifle. At base it's pretty decent and can help you out with damage early on, but fully upgraded it's on a whole nother level. A fully upgraded bolt caster can definitely shred any enemy thanks to its insane rate of fire, very good per bullet damage, and the nice ricochet perk you can get on those upgrade modules. There are 3 types of upgrades you can apply to the bolt caster, making it the only weapon upgrade in the game that can have 3 types of upgrades. These are the barrel ionizer, the bolt caster SM upgrade, and finally the upgrade modules themselves. The barrel ionizer increases your accuracy by 31%, and you can unlock this from the multi-tool specialist on the space anomaly for just a few hundred nanites. In fact, all the weapon types as well as their respective C-class technologies can be unlocked here for just a few hundred nanites each. Now the second upgrade is an exclusive one. It's called the bolt caster SM, and this is only available as an upgrade for day 1 players or people who got the PS4 limited edition of the game, and it cannot be unlocked in any other way unfortunately, unless I believe if you're using a save game editor, so only for the PC users. This is the only extra weapon upgrade of this type in the game, and it does come with some pretty good bonuses. Outside of the really small 1% damage increase, it does add a 21% fire rate and a nice +8 to the clip size. But do not worry, a max rank upgrade module is going to give you that and more. And this brings us of course to the final upgrade type, and that is the upgrade modules. These can be bought from the space station multi-tool specialists in exchange for more nanites. You can stack a maximum of 3 of these in this inventory type, and here is where most of your damage, rate of fire, and the bonus ricochet bullets come from. The best part about this is that the upgrade modules do stack with the C-class upgrades, not just for the bolt caster but also for literally any other weapon type in the game, meaning that you can exceed the 3 modules limit since the C-class upgrades are considered different kind of tech compared to the modules. As far as weapon performance goes, it has no trouble taking down literally anything. A fully upgraded bolt caster can have a magazine size of up to 100 bullets with a very high rate of fire, amazing precision, and overall great damage. So this is going to be suitable both for close as well as long range combat, and on close range or tight spaces you can even make use of those bullet bounces between enemies for some extra damage. The second upgrade is called the scatter blaster, also my personal favorite on the weapons list, and this is the shotgun type weapon upgrade of this game, meaning that it shoots the bullets in a wide cone, dealing massive damage to enemies at close range. Its unlockable tech upgrade is called Shell Greaser, and this reduces reload time by 11%, so it's pretty decent. But the weapon can be further upgraded with the second type of upgrades, in this case the modules, and these will provide at random bonuses such as rate of fire, damage, clip size, as well as decreasing those reload times. Once all of these 4 upgrades are set up, you can start unleashing the devastating power of the scatter blaster, and the damage burst on this thing is actually pretty wild. At close range it can deal over 1000 damage to anything that dares take on the full blast of this gun. The bigger the enemy is, it goes without saying that it's easier for you to land all the shells. The major downside is that the weapon really falls off over anything further than a few feet away from the target. You might still get lucky and hit something with a a few of the shells, but the damage is going to be significantly lower because of that. Otherwise, it's a really fun weapon, and especially so a very powerful one if you enjoy hugging the enemies all the time, as well as running around them at pretty close ranges. The third weapon upgrade I want to talk about is the Blaze Javelin. This is a sort of a sniper rifle upgrade that you can use by charging up the gun and then releasing it for an extremely powerful and precise single beam of energy. The damage potential on this weapon is one of the biggest in the game, and the burst on this weapon can one-shot literally anything and anyone. While almost anything, giant sentinels have an annoying mechanic that prevents that, but it's still pretty close. The Blaze Javelin comes with its own two types of upgrades. First, the Mass Accelerator that increases weapon damage by 13%, and then second, the upgrade modules that will greatly help you with damage and charge time. Without any of these upgrades, especially the modules, this weapon is probably going to be quite bad early on and pretty boring at low levels, since it requires such a long time to charge up. At base, the charge up is extremely long despite the good overall damage, but if you fully upgrade it, it's a beast of a gun, and I've actually seen it dealing over 15,000 weak point damage, one-shotting literally any sentinel and dropping more than 50% HP off the bipedal ones. In terms of downsides, there's a few of them in here that might prevent you to pick this off, especially for those who don't like having any downtime in their fights. On one side, even a fully upgraded Blaze Javelin still requires like 3, 4, maybe even 5 seconds to fully charge up the entire damage, meaning that you won't continuously shoot and fight. On the other hand, it's also really easy to miss weak points since they are so small oftentimes, which makes it not that ideal against multiple targets, especially when they tend to move fast. You can partially charge it though, but the damage is going to be significantly lower, so the more you charge it, the more you will get close to that 100% damage. But I do hear people like using this to instantly mine resources, so you can also use it at that. The fourth and final weapon upgrade is called the Pulse Splitter, another assault rifle type upgrade that is pretty similar to Boltcaster, especially when it's fully upgraded, but there's quite a few differences over here to go over. First, its rate of fire is much higher than the Boltcaster, and second, it also shoots 3 projectiles at the same time instead of just 1. This makes this weapon great against flying targets, since you can just shoot a massive barrage of bullets to take them down, but it works in pretty much any other scenario as well. Its tech upgrade is called the Amplified Cartridges, and these add a +20 to your clip size, so you can shoot for much longer. The tech modules bring buffs very similar to the ones from the Boltcaster, as in fire rate, reload time, clip size, straight out damage, but most important of all, ricochet bullets. So a fully upgraded Pulse Splitter and Boltcaster will be quite similar in the way they work, with the main difference being that the Pulse Splitter will have a higher rate of fire and a smaller per bullet damage, while the Boltcaster will have a slightly lower rate of fire with better damage per bullet. But again, it's a matter of preference, and you can go for whichever you want to. Both can work just fine, though as I've said, the Boltcaster has a slightly better advantage, and that is mainly because it has the extra SM upgrade that no other weapon in the game has. Outside of that, there aren't really any downsides to the Pulse Splitter. It can work both close as well as long range, both right off the bat with no upgrades, as well as later on with a ton of them. Moving on though, we have a couple of very interesting weapon mods that I quickly want to cover, and these are of course the Plasma Launcher and the Geology Cannon. They are both very similar, though they have slightly different functions. So both of them throw plasma projectiles that deal extreme explosion damage, but the Plasma Launcher behaves a little bit like a grenade launcher, meaning that projectiles will bounce on surfaces before exploding unless you shoot them directly into the enemy's faces. On the other hand, the Geology Cannon is just that, a cannon, so the plasma you shoot will immediately explode on impact. Now both of these weapons are something that I would consider downright OP, at least as far as combat and damage goes. You will obliterate anyone and anything with one single shot. And yes, that includes you as well, unfortunately. In fact, I cannot even recall the amount of times I wanted to exit a menu and accidentally shot one at my feet, pretty much one-shotting myself in the process. So much in fact that I had to actually take these down completely so that that situation never occurs again. But as far as weapons go, they can be unlocked at the same Space Anomaly Weapon Specialist as the previous ones, and you can only upgrade these with the upgrade modules, so you are saving one slot since neither of these have a C-class stake upgrade. The damage is, again, insane, close to 20,000 per shot, all white damage, so again, no weak point. Since this is an explosion type damage, it also deals AoE, meaning that any group of enemies will be quickly eradicated along with the very earth beneath them. For now, the downside is that it can also damage you, especially since the AoE range seems to be pretty big, so you can oftentimes even shoot an enemy that seems further away from you, but you might also get caught in the explosion. That makes sense, I guess, since it's such a destructive weapon that it can destroy literally anything. If you want a ranking with going strictly over the damage potential, geology cannons and the plasma launchers would be on the very top, closely followed by the blaze javelin, then the scatter blaster, the bolt caster because of its extra upgrade, and finally the pulse splitter. But that can change around depending on what you prefer as well as the way you engage with your enemies. Last but not least, I also want to quickly go over the mining beam, as I know there's going to be a couple of people in the comment section asking me about this, but it goes without saying that the mining beam is weaker now than it has ever been before, especially in terms of combat and dealing damage to the enemies. It only does about 100 damage at most, even fully upgraded, and even on weak point damage. So even if you have a multi-tool that specializes in dealing damage, such as the alien multi-tool that I've got, it's not going to perform very well at all. I mean, it's going to be pretty bad. So mining beam isn't even a viable weapon anymore, except for a very few moments in the early game, but that is pretty much it. It's now fully specialized into maximizing those resource gains. With that, I believe we've covered all the damage modules though. I hope this answered all of your questions and gave you a rough idea of which is the best and which is the worst, or at the very least, what are their strengths and weaknesses. But tell me down below which of these weapon types are your favorite. In the meantime, don't forget to give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it, subscribe and activate that notification bell for even more awesome content like this, and I'll see you guys soon.